What's up guys, Lifting here. In this video I'm going to give you a blueprint to a Freezing Pulse Totem Hierophant, a build that I think will be absolutely amazing in 3.6 synthesis, and that's because it was just buffed again. Like, Freezing Pulse was also already really strong and have received numerous buffs in the last many patches, and for some reason it just got another huge buff to like its base damage, but also the damage effectiveness went from 125 to 150%. So Freezing Pulse is going to be very nice in 3.6. This year is going to be for a totem build, as I think it will be super cheap to pull off, and it will have some nice defenses, and should just overall be a very pleasant experience for anyone who's trying it out. As I said, it's a blueprint, it's not like a full build guide, so this is a quick video where I just show you the path of building info, and I've made some leveling trees for you, and some leveling tips, and of course I have the gear and skill gems and all that stuff ready. I just don't have any like end game footage of this build doing anything, but you'll have to trust me on it. I promise you won't be disappointed with this. So first of all, if we take a look at the skill gems real quick, it's Freezing Pulse, Spell Totem, Hypothermia, Controlled Destruction, Added Cold Damage, and Cold Penetration. You can take something else for Cold Penetration. You could add Increased Critical Damage or Faster Casting if you prefer, but the thing is, Cold Penetration is really good when you go up against bosses. That's just how it is. Then we use Frostbite to lower their resistances, Frost Bomb to increase the cold damage they take, Vol Righteous Fire to increase the amount of damage that we deal with Freezing Pulse. Just be careful when you use it, you will take some damage yourself. And then I've linked that to increase duration. And if you get like a 5 link, this is for the chest, you may want to put like increased area of effect too, just for the sake of it. Then we use Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, Faster Casting, and Calling Strike. Calling Strike is to, well, to be able to call, but most importantly because of the quality bonus, it gives cast speed too, making your Flame Dash faster, and it also increases the mana cost of Flame Dash, which is good because that means we can use a level 8 Arcane Surge as opposed to a level 7. We use Clarity, we are Mind Over Matter based. Then we use a cast from damage taking, Summon Lightning Golem, and Immortal Call Whips. That is level too high, we want it to be level 11. And then finally we want to use Zealotry, which is the new aura that they are adding in 3.6. I can't show it to you right now because it's not in a Path of Building yet, but what it does is that it gives a more multiplier to spell damage, and it gives a small increase to critical strike chains, and then there's a chance to generate Consecrated Ground on a hit against an enemy. Now I'm not entirely sure if that works with the totems, but yeah, still we are interested in the Consecrated Ground because Consecrated Ground now, it still gives us life regen, but it also makes it so that enemies standing in Consecrated Ground, we will have 100% increased critical strike chains against those. And then when we pair that together with the Bottled Faith Sulfur Flask, a new flask, then we will get on top of that 2% to critical strike chains against enemies on Consecrated Ground during effect, and that's base critical strike chains. So we can scale that with the already like increases to increase critical strike we have in the skill tree, and they also take more damage when standing in it. And the Consecrated Ground created by this flask here, it has triple radius, plus we get 40% increased damage from it just being a sulfur flask. So this flask here is really good for this setup. Now, as I said, I'm not sure if Zealotry works with the totems and the placement of the Consecrated Ground, but if it doesn't, don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. You just still use your Bottled Faith to create it then, and it's probably, yeah, it's going to be completely fine. You want to make sure you have the Zealotry in the Essence Worm ring too, so it reserves no mana. This will increase the mana cost a bit of Clarity, but it's no big deal. It doesn't have much of a cost anyway. As for the remaining gear, there's not really too much to say here. First Snow Jewels, of course, you want to get those as fast as possible. It's going to feel great for your Freezing Pulse. Pandemonious is your best in slot amulet, but that is expensive, so until you get that, just use a regular rare amulet. And besides that, it's pretty standard basic gear here you want to utilize. It's a very budget friendly and easy setup to get going. I've also made it in the useful leveling uniques department. You can click here, and then I've made some recommendations here for uniques you can use while leveling, and then swap them out as you find something better. Let's take a quick look at the skill tree. There's not that much that needs to be explained, but this is a staff-based build, and since we're using staves, we can get the Serpent Stains cluster up here to get a lot of critical strike chains and some multiplier. We're also picking up Spiritual Aid so that minion damage modifiers applies to our build. That means that something like the... where is it now? Helmet. This is a bone helmet. Minion damage implicit will actually increase our damage here too then. Just keep in mind the bone helmets are getting nerfed a little in the 3.6 patch. Then we're using power charges, of course. We're generating them easily as the Hierophant, so no big deal there. We're using Mind Over Matter. And depending on whether or not you need it, you can spec out of these nodes here if you need the mana or if you don't need the mana. And I've made it so that there are leveling trees here if you want to check it out. And yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything. We are of course using Ancestral Bond, and I suggest that the way you spend your Ascendancy points is Pursuit of Faith, Ritual of Awakening, Conviction of Power, and then Divine Guidance. But you can pick Divine Guidance if you prefer, if you want to be a little safer before Conviction of Power. And that's pretty much it. It's very, very similar to my Frostbolt Totem setup too. You can check out that guide. I'm gonna link it down below too. I've just updated it. And
Twitch Prime, baby.
I think you guys will have a really, really good time playing either this build or the Frostbolt Totem, or even the Warchief Totem I've just updated too. So check them out. If you have any questions, come into our Discord and we'll do what we can to help you. Thank you for watching, and bros, do you even nerd?